Everybody, this is the Utah Outcasts. We are a very much uncensored and unabashedly atheist show coming at you from the great and spacious state of Utah via podcast and YouTube. We strive to bring you some news you missed, have some fun with real audio, and so much more every week. For each topic we find funny, infuriating, or just plain newsworthy, we make sure to consume each with as much skepticism and as much irreverence as legally allowed by our church-ran legislature. I'm X, and I'm your host. This is episode number 76. But before we get to the show proper, let's meet our panelists for the evening and find out what they've been up to. So in no particular order, help me introduce in Kyle Steenblick and making a triumphant return, Geoff Linville. Welcome back, sir.
Hey!
It's been a week, hasn't it?
Yes, it has.
I realized when we did the last episode, we didn't do any Thanksgiving shit like at all.
What's the point? We don't.
We just have to save up all of our pent-up emotion and rage for family dinners.
AKA Eatsgiving.
Yep.
Yes.
That's about all it is, really. So anyway, this show is brought to you courtesy of our fans who support the show financially via Patreon. These paradigms of persistent pledging have restored my faith in humanity, if not for a few seconds. So without further ado, let's give a little applause to Robert Jones, Dan Ellis, Luis Cruz, and Mr. Geoff Linville, who's on the show. Thanks to all these fine examples of humanity, our audience and more people are starting to tune in, and I couldn't be happier for that. So thank you all so much. Danny Lopez is perhaps who we can all thank for delivering the... Oh, I didn't change the axial tilt thing that I did last week. Anyway, he's got a hoodie headed his way along with a couple of stickers because that's the reward that he gets for being a patron. Pretty cool stuff. So if you want to help out Utah Outcasts but don't have a budget, give us a quick review or subscribe on whatever app you catch us on will help us out. In return, you'll get a shout out, especially if we get a 5-star review on iTunes, a subscribe on YouTube, or a follow of any kind on our social media, all of which you can find as Utah Outcasts. I've just barely started using Tumblr still. I've only made like 2 or 3 posts. I suck at the Tumblrs. It's like
too many things to get out there.
It's like a worse version of Instagram.
It really is. At least it's good for gifts.
Kyle, you're muted. You were going to say
is Tumblr still being? Yeah, is Tumblr still being a dick about the porn?
I don't know. Did they cut out their porn? I know they removed reference to it. They got really kind of cracking down on it.
Oh no!
Damn.
Yeah. I guess decided they weren't happy about being the amateur porn site that they were.
That significantly limits my reach of where I can get porn.
No kidding.
Yeah, exactly. There's nowhere else on the internet for that.
Nowhere
at all.
I liked it. I liked it for porn because it was a little bit risky because you never knew exactly what you were going to get.
You were letting other people push your boundaries, not necessarily you. Plausible deniability.
You go searching for tag camel toe and you might actually get a camel.
There you go.
Interesting. Yep. Or you get what I call moose knuckle. And it's like, no, that's not it. No.
Okay.
Nope, that's not camel toe. No. Let's see. We had a couple of subscribes on YouTube. Jordan Longwell and Bob Holmes, you've subscribed to us on YouTube. Welcome. Hopefully you're enjoying the show. On Twitter, we've had some new followers who are enjoying my shenanigans. I seem to have more fun on Twitter than I do on Facebook. Facebook's like serious fucking business. And then you get to Twitter and you're like, oh, fuck you, Ray Comfort. It's just kind of fun to do that.
When you only have 140 characters, you just got to make them count.
And apparently our new president-elect, that's where all of his policies are going to be posted first, I suppose.
Yeah.
My God, that man. What the fuck? I've said so much mean stuff to him in the last week. So people that love those shenanigans, we have as follows. We have Ben Green, crtoday.com, which is a Christian site. I don't know where... Like, all of a sudden, PureFlix started liking some of our posts and stuff that we did. Like, I was making jokes about hashtags and stuff, and they started, like, retweeting my shit and liking it. And other Christian sites have been picking up on it, and I'm like, you guys obviously don't read.
Don't listen.
No. Well, that's... They've employed some bots that will go out and just auto favorite and auto retweet stuff that have the right keywords or hashtags.
Yeah, there's another user that just had a username that was a heart symbol, and its like picture was a couple of juggalos. It was the guys from ICP. And I'm like, wait, is this because I made a joke about juggalos because Tila Tequila was like doing like fucking Sieg Heiling for Trump the other day? And all of a sudden they started following us, but their name is Juggalo Brand CN, so Canada. We have RIP America, Bobcat Pride, which is like a Texas Texas school. They might be a Christian school. I don't know if it's University
Bobcat
of Texas.
Goldthwait fan club.
I wish. I love that man.
Yeah, we could only hope.
I love him as a director.
Oh,
that would
awesome.
That would make me too happy.
And we have Thule McTulerson, which is a Scott Baio parody account.
Huh?
They love my Trump shenanigans, I guess. So they've started following us too. I'm like, that's funny as hell. So we're glad to have you guys along for the ride. We have to do some housekeeping to let you guys know. Both of the two guests, both of my panelists this week have made appearances on the Godless Revolution recently. You should go check out both episodes of that. It was really good. Let's see. I don't think they've dropped yours yet, Jeff, have they?
It'll be in the morning.
Okay, yeah, it'll be. Well, when you guys are hearing this on Wednesday, you could probably go get it. Kyle's, they had an interview with Mike Norton, and he would not shut up.
Yep.
I'm kidding. He's a good guy.
And he was a good guy, and it was interesting.
I love to have.
There's a lot to say. He does.
I don't know how to put this. Both of you guys have been around the people that have met famous people and talked to famous people. And I've done the same. I've talked to people in bands and stuff. And I'm like, it's cool and everything, but I'm not going to be like the dude's like, and there was this one time I met this one guy and we did this one thing. And I'm like, name dropper, shut up.
Yep.
So I was on the Brainstorm podcast recently, both of which have already dropped. Yeah. So no waiting necessary. They were talking at the very beginning of the episode about how many babies I eat out here in Utah. And I'm like, well, it depends. How do you prepare them? And so I don't know how it got into the topic of us talking about the, when you make chickens in the oven where you do the beer can chickens.
Oh, yeah.
So beer can babies. Yeah.
3.5 beer can babies. Huh?
Yeah. So anyway, that's about it. So we got all that out of the way. Let's go ahead and get into our first segment of the week. It's time for News You Missed, where we bring you some headlines that you might have missed out on or that we feel deserved a little bit more attention than they got. So here we go. The first one that we have up here is a friendly reminder. It's now charity season, and a lot of secular folks are looking to donate money. Make sure you do not give any of your money or anything to the Salvation Army.
No.
They are
because
they pretend to be a charity, but keep in mind they're actually a church and they're ran that way. So that pretty much goes for a lot of the religious nonprofits out there. So
yeah,
if you can avoid not giving stuff to Deseret Industries, that's cool. I know they're handy for getting rid of your garbage that's left over when you clean a room and stuff, but
here, take my shit. Yeah.
And on top of that, if anybody is really looking, very little research can be done in order to see whether or not 501c3s or, however they fall under whatever it is, and where their money goes, how it's used. Because if you are a nonprofit, a true nonprofit, then you have to file I forget that. I always forget what the form is, but it's laying out everything that they have to do and how much money goes to programs, how much goes to actual employees, and how much goes toward the mission. So it's all public knowledge. I think it's like nonprofits. Oh, man, I should know this. It's not like I work for a nonprofit or anything.
No, nothing like that. No.
But yeah, all that stuff can be looked up very easily. 501c3s, guys, keep them in your heart.
The next news item that we have is more of the Trump cabinet stuff, and we've got two stories with this. Where the first one that we have up here is Liberty University president Jerry Falwell Jr. has said that President-elect Donald Trump offered him the job of Secretary of Education, but he's turned it down. Thank goodness. Only problem is who they gave it to instead, and she's arguably worse.
Worse.
But I'm happy that Falwell, he said he turned it down for personal reasons, and he told the Associated Press that Trump offered him the job during a meeting in New York, and Trump said he wanted a 4 to 6 year commitment. He must think he's going to go full 2-term, doesn't he?
Yep, he really does.
But he said he couldn't leave Liberty University for more than 2 years, which I don't believe. That place runs itself.
Yeah.
It's like BYU. You don't need actually anybody running the place. You just have everybody snitching on each other. So he said that he couldn't afford to work at a cabinet-level job for longer than that and didn't want to move his family, especially his 16-year-old daughter. You don't have to move the whole family when you go to DC. Look at Melania; she's going to be staying in Trump Tower for
I was going to say Trump's not even going to move to DC. What is he complaining about?
Oh, fucking hell!
How they call that a university, I don't know. I will never understand how Liberty University is actually a real college. Just
by name only and on paper, and that's about it.
Yeah, by name and only. It's not accredited.
No.
Liberty University, just like Trump University.
Yep.
Which is some shit because he's settled. He's like,
he's never going to settle.
No.
Losers only settle. Except for me. I had to.
Yeah. There was a really interesting thing. I'm really loving watching the Keith Olbermann stuff that he's doing, The Resistance. And he had a really good one that he put out like tonight or the day before today. The day before today is yesterday. Good job, Chris. Why don't you just go ahead and make it even harder to fucking speak English? But anyway, he was talking about I think it was the 25th Amendment to the Constitution, where it's presidents, when if they feel like they can't be in power anymore, they can just be removed by the vice president and like the Speaker of the House, and like a couple other people can just go, "Yep, you're not fit." And like, I sincerely think that could happen with Trump.
It could.
He's crazy.
It could.
Fucker's crazy.
Well, there's a lot of things that could happen.
There's so much that can happen. We'll get to some of those here in a minute.
Yeah.
How about some good news? Fidel Castro's dead.
Yay! Ding dong!
Yay! I mean, it really wasn't doing anything.
No, but we pride ourselves at this podcast, and we're not one of those live and let live kind of like podcasts. If you were a bad person, we're gonna cheer when you're dead. You fucking deserved it. You know?
Yeah, you were a dick.
Oh, the only thing you're gonna be hurting is their family, guys. No. I don't think so.
57 years. 57 years, Susan.
That's a long time in power, man. But I find it funny that people are trying to be civil about it. I mean, he was a fucking horrible person who had so many people die under his rule mysteriously. He's oppressed his people for God knows how long. 50-something years. There you go.
Yeah.
Though they do make classic cars there, which is kind of neat, but that's neither here nor there because they can't get modern cars. Let's see. Now that the deed is done, there's no unringing that specific bell, and I find it funny when American leaders are trying to kiss his dead ass, even though we tried to like assassinate him like 700 times.
Yep.
So relegated to history.
Yeah, but our leaders have to be diplomatic. You can't really just say, "Oh, good." Fuck that guy.
Unlike Trump's tweet, he's like, Fidel Castro is dead, yay, or something like
that.
Hey, and President Obama put out like a 5-paragraph thing that was actually statesmanly.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying, there's a difference between being diplomatic and being falling on the wrong side of the histories here. So, like Justin Trudeau got in trouble for this shit the other day about this. He's like, I admired him. No, don't say stuff like that.
Yeah. Oops.
Yeah.
Oops. Yeah.
Damn it. I forgot. We're not supposed to admire people.
Nope. You're not supposed to admire Saddam Hussein, President-elect Trump.
Yeah.
All these red flags. That. Every one of these red fucking flags. And people just went, well, he's not Clinton.
No.
Yeah. At least he's not Clinton. And he's not, he's not sleeping with all the interns like the husband. Oh man, just whatever.
It takes two to be consensual. God damn it.
Yep.
All right, let's see. Ben Carson suddenly thinks he can run a federal agency. God damn it, X, learn how to talk tonight.
He's back.
It just took him a little while to get there. He's a little slow.
Yeah. So Ben Carson, 1 week ago, his business manager and close friend Armstrong Williams said that Carson won't join the incoming Trump administration and would only serve as an unofficial advisor. Dr. Carson feels he has no government experience. He's never run a federal agency. The last thing that he would want to do is take a position that could cripple the presidency. This is the third week of fucking Ben Carson being in our news because of shit like this. Yeah. First week we said he is going to, then we corrected it last week with a no, he's not going to. Now he's looking at it again. So
right. I mean, fortunately, the position he's going to take is, oh God, what is it?
The Secretary of Housing and Urban Development.
Yeah. And the other main problem with that is, I firmly believe Ben Carson is going to push gentrification. I mean, that's just
that's. I don't think
wolf in sheep's clothing, huh?
I don't think Ben Carson knows he's black.
I don't think he knows what gentrification means.
Yeah.
No, I don't think he does either.
No, Ben Carson knows he's black because he's got Jerry Curl Jesus in his living room. I saw the pictures of that. So.
Just let your soul glow.
Isn't gentrification when we let old people move in with us? That's what I thought.
It's gerification, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. I'm not sure.
I don't know. Is that even a word? I don't know.
Who knows it?
Fuck, I want to move into I would love to move into the senior living facility. I heard there's a lot of fucking that goes on there.
Yeah,
Yes, there is.
They got nothing to lose, and
Past the blues, and they're just close to death. Like, oh, I get an STD. What's my outlook for AIDS? Oh, 20 years. I don't have 6, buddy.
Yeah, it's like making love to a powdered donut. I don't know.
I could see that. I honestly. And I'm not grossed out by it. How about that?
Yeah, like, that's fine. No big deal.
No,
I get it.
I've always jokingly said if the wife and I don't work out, it's going to be I'm going to go for a cougar. I'm going to go for a big old cougar.
Yep.
Silver
Preferably
fox.
with multiple houses.
Yeah. And, just wants to keep me around for a plaything. I mean, don't flatter yourself, X. No. So Ben Carson, anyway, we were talking about him. He said, I know that I grew up in the inner city. How do you start a statement that way? Yes. I know that God damn it. And I spent a lot of time there. If you grew up there and you spent a lot of time there, I think that's the same thing, is it not? And have dealt with a lot of patients from that area and recognize he doesn't. Every one of his sentences starts with "and" from here on out. There's 3 sentences in a row that start with 4. He said, and have spent a lot of time there, period. And have dealt with a lot of patients from that area, period. And recognize that we cannot have a strong nation if we have weak inner cities, period. And we have to get beyond the promises and start doing something. What?
And he's the one to do it, I suppose.
Sure.
What's he going to do? We have weak inner cities? I don't know what you're talking about there. I mean, weak as in they've been, neglected. I mean, look at Flint, Michigan. I mean, just to go for an example there, that's an infrastructure thing. That's a government corruption thing. That's a lot.
I would like to know what the weak inner cities. I mean, is he talking about economic development? Because that's obviously traceable back to many, many different things that have nothing to do with actually being inner city. Yeah,
could be. I don't know. I don't get. I don't understand Ben Carson's buzzwords. I don't get his herrings.
No. So this is the Mother Jones editorial here saying, in other words, he has no qualifications at all. I suppose Trump really finally found the one thing Carson wouldn't mind crippling. Yeah.
Oh, you mean aside from patience?
And it says here, my guess is that Trump is pretty desperate to get Carson on his team because he doesn't want the press to be able to say that his cabinet is all white. That's all white, not all white. Like,
all white.
All right. And Carson is probably the only black person Trump knows besides from Mike Tyson and Don King. Boom! That's a zinger right there, man.
Oh, man. Who said this?
This is Kevin Drumnov from Mother Jones.
Oh, okay.
It'll be in the show notes. All the links are going to be there.
Yeah.
I go through and give you the links. So.
I do like Mother Jones because they're not afraid to editorialize the shit out of things.
Out of their stuff, yeah.
Well, we have another one about Trump coming from the New Century Times, which they're not afraid to say shit too, but they put a lot of stuff in their articles and they cite their sources. So earlier this week, we have Jill Stein pushing for this recount thing in Wisconsin, I believe. Was that the first place she's going for?
Yeah, I think so.
Mm-hmm.
So it was noted that numerous amounts of discrepancies were being discovered in 3 precincts in Wisconsin, which essentially means that the number of votes cast exceeded the number of ballots that were actually submitted. And a report just released that President-elect Trump's margin of victory in Wisconsin seems to be shrinking before the state's recount gets underway. So according to the Palmer report, a few precincts discovered the numbers were padded to benefit Donald Trump. So they had to revise their numbers. And after the revision, about 5,000 votes were wiped off of Trump's column. So the stunning part is that Hillary Clinton's numbers remained completely unchanged during the whole thing.
Well,
so despite the huge amount of votes that Trump has lost, is it a coincidence? I think not, it says.
Yeah, and then he, sending out his tweet. I don't know if you're going to read his tweet.
No, I don't have it in front of me here unless you got it.
Yeah, you go right ahead.
I don't have it in front of me. I said,
okay.
I didn't know if
it says
it's gold.
In addition to winning the Electoral College in a landslide, I won the popular vote if you deduct the millions of people who voted illegally. How terrible is that for the president-elect to undermine the whole fabric of the voting
electoral process? You know,
well, and not only that, but that's just a ludicrous statement.
Yeah,
well,
that's like saying everybody always agrees with me as long as you discount all the people who disagree.
And then fascist.
And then later on that night, he said serious voter fraud in Virginia, New Hampshire, and California. So why isn't the media reporting on this? Serious bias, big problem.
That's the president-elect, people. firing off on Twitter at odd hours of the night.
Jeez.
That honestly must be his tug before bed equivalent. He's like, I'm going to get on Twitter and be an asshole to people. I like hearing my phone vibrate. He probably sticks it halfway up his ass and he's like, ooh, I love all the mentions and the ats. Yeah.
I wonder how they're gonna get the phone away from him.
Can they? I'm sure.
Well, I know the sitting president cannot have an unmoderated social media account.
So
you just can't.
This report that they were talking about, the Palmer report, says this. It says, even ahead of the forthcoming recount in Wisconsin, Donald Trump's late. Oh, God damn it! Pause so I can get a cut out of this one. Fuck. Okay. Even ahead of the forthcoming recount in Wisconsin, Donald Trump's lead has already shrunk to just 22,525 votes. That means that 18% of his quote-unquote lead has already vanished.
He's gone.
Based on precincts catching some of their own incorrect numbers and internet gawkers catching others. But the second thing that jumps out is the revisions have served to erase thousands of votes from Trump while affirming that Clinton's vote total was essentially correct to begin with. Donald Trump has gone from originally having 1,409,000 votes to now having only 1,404,000 votes in Wisconsin. So in other words, a total of 5,000 votes were reported for Trump on election night that never existed.
Wow.
In contrast, Hillary has gone from 1,382,000 to 1,382,000, like a 200 vote difference. So less than 200 votes. So difference. So,
go ahead, sir.
No, go ahead.
It's like his biographer said, if you listen to Trump talk, he's talking about himself. He tells on himself so many times.
He does.
And I have someone in my life that does the exact same thing. I always know when this person talks, I know, wait a minute, that's BS because they're telling on themselves. And then you can disseminate the information backwards from there. And he's doing the exact same thing, yelling and screaming, it's rigged, this is dumb. People are, there's widespread through the Clinton campaign that it's voter fraud and all these problems. When it's come out, even with this stuff with his the Trump nonprofit with self-giving and screaming and yelling that the Clintons have screwed up their nonprofit, and it's Trump been doing it the whole time. He's the one that's been screwing up. He's the one been self-dealing. So whatever.
Mm-hmm. So the rest of the report here says that where did these votes come from? Who originally padded his numbers and how? If this was indeed due to an organized effort to pad Trump's voting totals in various precincts across the state, the recount should fully expose it. Yep. Which I'm kind of glad they're going to be doing this now. And I thought for a minute when Jill Stein said she was going to do it, I'm like, she doesn't have a real reason to demand a recount because she didn't get quite enough votes. But now the Clinton people are behind it. It's not an agreed status, But I think now the Clinton's group's getting behind it. They said, yeah, we're behind this. And that all of a sudden is pissed off Donald Trump. And I would think no matter what side you were on, checking to make sure everything was above board.
It's a good thing.
For everybody. It would work for everybody.
Yeah.
Well, you'd think it would be standard, but.
In 2012, November 6, 2012, Donald Trump sent out 2 tweets. The first one being, the Electoral College is a disaster for democracy. And the other one is, let's fight like hell to stop this great and disgusting injustice. The world is laughing at us. And that was in 2012. Looks like, he took advantage of that. Telling on himself again.
I hate this man. I really goddamn hate this man.
Yeah.
All right, so the last little bit of news that I have here tonight is a kind of an interesting story. And Israeli politicians and LGBT activists. This comes from I usually don't use RT for news, but this one is not America, not Russia related, so it's probably not biased at all. So, have called for the resignation of Sephardi chief rabbi Shlomo Amar.
Shlomo Amar, huh?
After the high-rank cleric said that homosexuality was punishable by death. In modern Israel, some asshole is still saying shit like this.
Wow.
This is a cult of abomination. This is clear. I probably shouldn't do no.
No.
Here comes the mail.
I don't need the JDL up my ass for this one. No, thank you. So Amar said when asked of his attitude towards homosexuality in an interview with Israel Hayom newspaper cited by the Times of Israel, this is an abomination. The Torah says it is punishable by death. It is in the first rank of severe offenses. And he didn't believe some people having homosexual orientation calling such claims as nonsense. Oh, it's nonsense. Those things don't exist, but I think we should kill them for it anyway. That's what he sings, but
it's coming our way.
Desires, and a person can overcome it if he wants, like all other desire. Yeah, like sucking baby penis after you cut the foreskin off.
Yeah,
sick motherfucker. Yuck.
Hey, but that's tradition.
Yeah,
totally different.
Gross. Yeah. No, it's all gross. So after they released this stuff, an LGBT activist, Shirley Kleinman, filed a complaint to the police blaming the cleric for incitement to murder. And she said that, let's try to ensure that this man will not remain in his key public position. This is not an anti-religious issue. I have nothing against religion. There's your problem right there. You're too nice. Every person shall live in accordance with their faith. I do have an interest to protect my rights and the rights to live and to live with dignity, she said. So, the guy's being drummed out. The Knesset members are trying to vote him out, and then they wrote the Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. God, he's still Prime Minister. Fuck.
Still going strong. Yeah.
So they're trying to get him out of there. He's exploiting his position for a campaign of dangerous incitement against a large public group in Israel. He's a public figure who endangers the safety of Israeli citizens by discrimination. So I just mainly wanted to bring this article up only because, just to show you that it's not just America. It's not just the Middle East. Arguably, yes, I understand Israel is the Middle East, but they're technically supposed to be more of a Western country than we give them credit for, but it's going on there. It's the Jews are just as bad as the Muslims, as bad as the Christians. So,
and there is a common denominator there. I wonder what it is.
Hats. It's got to be hats. Strange and unusual nonsense hats.
Weird
that's what
prayer box thing that you put on your head with a leather strap that goes around, and you have the other one where you put it on your arm and you run it down your arm like a snake, and you hold on to it and you do the whole wobbling back and forth, praying shit, and just
that just sounds weird. I don't know if anybody would do that.
No. No. Or if you touch an unclean woman, you got to bathe in like rainwater at the bottom of the temple and stuff. Just fucking weird. Anyway, sorry to bring you guys down with a bummer there, but that's all we got for news this week. We're going to go ahead and move on to our first segment, which will be right back. This is Utah Outcasts. This is Jeff, Kyle, and X. We'll be right back. All right, we're back, and this is the Decalogue for the end of November. And what we're going to be talking about tonight is the top 10, not given in any kind of order at all here. I'm probably not even going to give you numbers. You'll have to reference it all yourself and make sure that we actually did get to 10. I'm sure you'll send me some hate mail if we didn't. So what we're going to talk about tonight are the top 10 wacky as shit Mormon beliefs from doctrine. And that's
how did you only pick 10?
Well, I had somebody. I had the Reddit ex-Mormon group do a lot of the work for me.
Oh, okay.
Those guys are just loving to talk about anything anti-Mormon whenever they get the chance to. So. What we have for our first one tonight is that we have how about the Quakers live on the moon and we will never visit
favorite. That's one of my favorites.
So according to the Doctrine and Covenant, we have Joseph Smith saying Inhabitants of the moon are more of a uniform size than the inhabitants of the earth, being about 6 feet in height. They dress very much like the Quaker style and are quite general in style or one fashion of dress. They live to be very old, coming, and it's misspelled coming, generally near 1,000 years. This is the description of them given by Joseph the seer, as he could see whatever he asked the Father in the name of Jesus to see. So, let's see. We also have Brigham Young saying, "Who can tell us the inhabitants of this little planet that shines of an evening?" No, it doesn't provide its own light, called the moon. "Whether you inquire about the inhabitants of that sphere, you find that the most learned are as ignorant in regard to them as the ignorant of their fellows." So it is in regard to the inhabitants of the sun. Do you think it is inhabited? I rather think it is. So Brigham Young thought that there are inhabitants of the sun.
People lived on the sun.
Living on the sun.
Yes.
Well, someone has to light the fuse.
Oh, God.
And here is his justification. This is in Prophet Brigham Young, Journal of Discourses, Volume 13, page 271. He says, Do you think it is inhabited? I rather think it is. Do you think there is any life there? No question of it. It was not made in vain.
It's amazing.
That's great.
I love it so much. I'm kind of hoping you hit my favorite one. If not, I'll throw it in the end.
I'm just going to give a couple more references to scripture here, only because this is stuff this is actual, like, hard, like, in the black, like, this is dried ink. This is shit that they actually wrote. It's in their books. So this is actual codified stuff here. So the Young Women's Journal by O.B. Huntington says, "In my patriarchal blessing given by the father Joseph the prophet in Kirtland in 1837, I was told that I should preach the gospel before I was 21 years of age, that I should preach the gospel to the inhabitants upon the islands of the sea and to the inhabitants of the moon, even the planet you can now behold with your eyes." They thought the moon was a planet. That's funny.
I love it.
Well, that's just,
Man.
I can forgive them calling it a planet. But
at that time, they could actually physically see with advanced for the time. At least Joseph Smith and everybody can see it with advanced optics. Good hell.
Yeah, they had telescopes. We had telescopes at the time. We could see the moon.
That's our nearest celestial object. So
yeah.
Wow.
I mean, 20/20 vision can see it just good enough.
Oh yeah.
There's more and more here. I'm not going to get into each one of these that in depth. So how about the earth is alive? This is number 2. The earth is alive. It is able to sin and it speaks.
Wait, it's able to sin?
Yeah. So hang on. This is from Brigham Young, Teachings of President Brigham Young, edited and compiled by Fred C. Collier. And it's also in Essential Brigham Young, page 82. The earth is a living creature and breathes as much as you and I do. So ergo.
I was going to say, yeah.
Hang on.
Go ahead.
Where does the earth come from? This is Heber C. Kimball from the Journal of Discourses, says that where does the earth come from? From its parent earths. So a mommy earth and a daddy earth got together, and when they loved each other very much, they made a little baby earth.
Man. They smashed each other good.
Yeah. I guess we'll call this living planet ego, huh?
Yeah. We could. Yeah.
Another Heber C. Kimball.
I'm more interested in the sinning part. What sins can the earth commit? I
don't know. There are some big holes in the Grand Canyon.
Yeah.
It's a big old gash.
I mean, is that...
But the Mariana Trench is at least wet. You know? Okay.
Is that what all the... Is that what all the hoodoos are? Are
they
just
getting a Brazilian every time we take down some wetlands, huh?
Yeah. So Heber C. Kimball also says, some say that the earth exists without spirit. I do not believe any such thing. It has a spirit as much as any body has a spirit.
Wow.
So ergo, anything that has a spirit and exists in the mortal world has fallen from grace. And so it has sin. It can sin, it has sinned, and it will continue to sin.
Technically, it's been falling since the Big Bang, so I guess they're kind of right.
Except
Sure.
Their falling and our falling are different. Like we're falling into the sun very slowly. very slowly.
Well, that would seem like a very inconvenient little bit of dogma for most of those guys.
Orson Pratt says, "What? The Earth is alive too? If it were not, how could the words of our text be fulfilled, where it speaks of the Earth's dying? How can that die that has no life?"
Wow,
man, this is 19...
Islam has a similar thing about this.
What's that?
I'm just saying, Islam has a similar look upon the Earth like this.
It's not. It's definitely not a unique piece of dogma.
Yeah.
The interesting part is how they choose to ignore it or forget it.
Yeah. I broke this one off from the moon only because we mentioned it in passing here. But number 3, people live on the sun.
Yeah, Jesus Christ.
In 1870, not that long ago, people, Brigham Young discussed the possibility that the sun and the moon were inhabited. However, Young stated that it was his own personal belief and thoughts in a response to a claim being ignorant on the matter. Young admitted that he had ignorance. The prophet had ignorance.
Yeah, it also says that in the Quran.
Yeah.
Speaking as a man, not as a prophet. That's our little loophole.
Man.
The man is fallible.
So they said that these personal beliefs were held by Young, and such beliefs were common in the 19th century and were even considered to be, quote, scientific fact by many at the time. I have to warn you guys, I did get this from Fair Mormon, so it is apologetics. So
yeah.
Because that's about the only way they can back it up, saying, well, other people did it too.
Yeah,
other people thought it too.
This guy wasn't smart. Yeah,
we gotta be right.
1870. I mean, come on.
By default.
All right, let's see. I had a hard time. I've got just one line of Doctrine and Covenant for this next one. Matter cannot be created nor destroyed, according to the Mormon Church, because Doctrine and Covenants 93:33 says the elements are eternal. That's not how it works.
Yeah, that's not really functioning knowledge of how elements work.
Yeah, we invented elements by firing neutron guns at them and stuff, and protons, and just you know, you get them to glom on there for a little bit, and they have a half-life of half a femtosecond. You know, but it existed. Yeah. We have it in the lab, so.
But that's the lab. That's not on your knees.
Oh yeah, that doesn't count.
Reading it from a hat. An iPhone inside of a hat. Let's see.
Hey, an iPhone's a rock. It's a rock.
Number 5. Enoch and his city of Zion were taken to outer space. Yes. 3 years before
they
Adam's
do love
death.
their space, don't they?
Oh, the Mormons are so sci-fi. All you have to do is go watch Battlestar Galactica to realize what that tie is there, because that was a very Mormon show.
Kind of sounds like Scientology.
A little bit.
Except we're not talking about giving 3D movies to spirits after they've been captured with spirit nets and after they got blown up in a hydrogen bomb volcano release kind of thing. Man, it's kooky. That's some weird shit. How about we just exist? We like to fucking eat. That's about it.
Yeah. And when you can't do either one, you die.
Yeah. Your purpose is served. So 3 years before Adam's death, you know, that's Adam as in like Adam and Eve Adam, you know, Enoch with other righteous leaders attended a great convocation called by Adam at Adam on Beyond, you know, Missouri. There, Adam bestowed upon his last blessing upon his children and related, by the power of prophecy that should happen to his posterity at the end of time. The prophecy was recorded in the book of Enoch, blah, blah, blah. Enoch foresaw the first coming and the Savior of crucifixion and death, blah, 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 blah. He foresaw the second coming and the building up of Zion in the last days and the return of his city to the earth. So therefore, it is not on the earth. It will return after the second coming. Their big space colony of the Macross is going to land in Missouri.
God damn it.
Missouri is such an amazing place.
Enoch was actually 430 years old when he was translated. No.
Oh,
At that time, Zion had been in existence for 365 years, and when the world in general had rejected the law of God, the Lord translated Enoch and his people, taking them and the government of heaven off the earth.
Oh.
Whoop, I'm just gonna pick you up. Let's go,
oh God!
I guess whatever gets you more tithing, huh?
Yeah.
I guess.
It's so ridiculous. It's so completely dumb. And there's so many people that buy into it too. That's what really freaks me out. It's like, do they know this stuff is no? Most of them.
And
don't.
that's the other half.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
So,
most of them don't realize that. Although I would wonder, how do they not figure this stuff out? Their temples look like spaceships.
Especially the Provo Temple. We always call it the holy spaceship.
Yeah, they all look like fucking rocket ships.
Yep.
look like one of those old like slide projectors. Where you load the big cartridge and slides on top of it. Yeah, there you go. And I've lost count already. I think this is number 6, maybe.
Yeah, I think it's 6. Yeah.
A new star appeared in the sky when Jesus was born, and it kept the sky lit all night for all of the Western Hemisphere to see. Yet there's no notice of this in the Eastern Hemisphere except by the wise men. Like there was, something that kept the night lit up all the time.
Yeah.
Maybe it was really a supermoon.
Well, it could have been.
Oh, but wait, we can trace that back and figure it out.
Yeah,
right.
They said something like April 6th, 1 CE or something, BCE or something like that is when they're saying.
Mm-hmm.
It's ridiculous. Number 7, light is repelled by evil and attracted to good. Oh, we could think of some easy ways to test this, can't we?
So is that the white and delightsome?
I believe so.
Wait,
yeah.
That like real light or spiritual light? Is this a metaphor?
I don't understand.
Are they speaking metaphorically?
I'm gonna go full moral oral on you. Be like, there's no difference, Kyle.
Yeah, there's none.
God damn it!
What do you mean?
I think it's more pointing towards melanin in the skin.
But that's not how light works. Light works like it absorbs. It's absorbed into the darker colors.
Yep.
So they're wrong. White, you're reflecting all that light. You heathen.
Yeah.
But white is all the light.
Number 7, the moon revolves more slowly than the earth, and the sun revolves more slowly than the moon. This is
That's awesome.
Oh, man. And again, I got this from Fair Mormon. I tried to get Mormon Think or one of these other sites that has this stuff out there. So they're trying to, the way they framed it, and they said, well, they're not completely wrong, because if you think about it, when the time that the moon goes around the sun, goes around the earth, it takes about 30 days for that, because that way, if you're looking at the point of reference from the sun, you see the backside of the moon and you get to see the front side of the moon and all this. I'm like, you guys are really stretching it there.
Well, and at least they're trying, because the earth being the center of the universe, at least they have some sort of perspective.
Mm.
And there's let's see, what is it from we'll get to that one here in a second, but there's like 4 paragraphs of shit that I really don't want to read here because it's just all apologetics. And I dug all this up last night when I was half drunk, ready to go to bed. And I'm like, copy and paste, blah. Here we go. Let's see. Our next to last one that we have here tonight, so that would make it number 9. The moon is a bigger planet than the Earth, and it gets its light from the sun. Ding, ding, ding. You got a correct one there.
Yep.
Which gets its light from the stars of Klee, Floss, Es, and Hauko Beam.
I'm sorry, you just lost your points for being correct.
Yeah. And
I think X just had a stroke.
They get their light from Kolob and Olabish.
There it is.
Olabish.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
There it is.
So it says here, Mormonism is truth, and every man who embraces it feels himself at liberty to embrace every truth. Consequently, the shackles of superstition, bigotry, ignorance, priestcraft, and all more from blah, 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 blah.
I can't have that tattooed on me.
Yeah, no kidding. Mormonism, so-called, embraces every principle pertaining to life and salvation for time and eternity, no matter who has it. If the infidel has got truth, it belongs to Mormonism. The truth and sound doctrine. Why am I reading this shit? Where's the planet stuff here? Hang on.
You're a glutton for punishment. That's why.
Because I copied a lot of it. Okay, so this comes from the Book of Abraham, facsimile number 2, where we can just wholesale say that this is wrong because that Book of Abraham was just a different papyri from the Book of the Dead. So in this little thing here, it says, it is called in Egyptian, Enish Go-on Dosh. This is one of the governing planets also, and is said by the Egyptians to be the sun, and to borrow its light from Kolob. This planet receives its power through the medium of Cleflosius and Hakokaubi.
Wow.
How did anybody fall for this shit?
What the fuck?
Because it was unverifiable. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Oh, that's still unverifiable.
Well, yes.
Yeah. Fuck,
man. And that's about all we got for that one. So, how about Bigfoot is Cain? That should be.
Oh yeah, this is one of my favorites.
There we go. Okay.
Bigfoot is Cain because Cain can never die because he was the one that first killed and committed sin or whatever the fuck it was. That I don't know the doctrine behind it because I couldn't find anything because they're like they've scrubbed the internet pretty good for this one.
And I have one to add to this if you'd like.
Go for it.
Oh yeah,
because I've got one last one that I'm gonna go.
Oh please,
fuck your top 10. Here we go. Mormons believe we live on the hollow earth, and that is where the 10 tribes live.
Oh God, the hollow.
Kyle just had a stroke.
So, Doctrine and Covenant, 110:11. The keys of the gathering of Israel from the 4 parts of the earth, and the leading of the 10 tribes from the land of the north, in parentheses, North Pole. The North Pole is containing thousands of millions of Israelites. No, those are elves, aren't they?
I was going to say, is this Middle Earth we're talking about, or?
Man.
Oh, that's fucking.
I love it.
So at the same time, Joseph described the shape of the earth at the poles as being a round elongation and drew a diagram of it. I have heard Joseph say that John was among the 10 tribes beyond the North Pole. President Young said that he heard Joseph Smith say that the 10 tribes of Israel were on a portion of land separated from this earth. Man.
It's so beautiful. It's like poetry. Poetry of insanity.
I heard Joseph Smith say the 10 tribes were not on this globe, but a portion of this earth cleaved off and with them and went flying into space. And when the time comes, when the earth reels to and from like a drunken man and the stars from heaven fall, it would join on again.
It's going to reattach. The earth is going to reattach to its lost meteorites. That's amazing. Where are they going to? I guess that's where the Grand Canyon fits in, huh? They'll just kind of plug back in.
Yeah, they'll just plug back in, and then the Earth will go to hell for sinning.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Better get some prophylactics for the Earth on that one.
I remember there was one time I was really interested in. I like looking up all sorts of statistics. I like stats. It's fun to play with. Where you look up the average volume of a human being. How much space we take up if we were to be turned into a liquid, And I remember taking the volume and multiplying it by however many people that we have on the planet. And then I converted that, because you can do the volume versus, how much space because volume is in like square meters,
Right. Yeah.
Or sorry, cube meters. Sorry.
Cube meters. Yeah.
So you'd have cc's as cubic centimeters, meters cubed kind of thing. Is how you deal with volume, milliliters, and all that fun shit. And so anyway, I remember doing the math on this. I'm like, let's see, 6 billion times this number would give you this many things divided by this number. It's like you can liquidate everybody on Earth and put them in the Grand Canyon and still not even raise it like a couple of feet.
Yep, it's amazing.
It's big. That's a lot.
We're saving that for the return of all of our lost tribes.
No, if you really want to see all of humanity turn to liquid, just go watch End of Evangelion.
Oh yeah, that's right.
If anybody likes old ass anime.
Yeah, that's a throwback there.
Yeah, that's one where fuck, never mind. I'm not even going to get into it because that's something we could do a whole episode where we just watch the anime and talk about it. Man,
that's a deviation you don't want to get into right now.
Yeah, we'll make that a Patreon show in the future. How about that? We'll go down that route. What was your one that you wanted to add there?
Growing up, we always heard stories about the 3 Nephites. You guys know about the 3 Nephites?
Is that anything like the 3 seashells?
No. These are actual 3 people that when Jesus came and visited the Americas, that 3 of his disciples that he gave everlasting life to until his return. And there are stories that the 3 Nephites would help people out in floods. They would help, like their car tipped over and all of a sudden someone would come out of the woods and tip the car back over and just disappear. Those kinds of stories. And it's really serious. You can, BYU, the Harold B. Lee Library at BYU has online, they flat out say, yeah, this is part of the lore because of stuff in 3rd Nephi. So it's amazing.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. So the 3 Nephites wander around doing good works for until Jesus returns.
What a shitty existence, man.
Yeah. Awesome, huh? Like, some of them there was a big, huge flood, and then someone would throw someone on top of a house or on top of a log, and then they would drown, and that was one of the 3 Nephites. It's just the dumbest shit in the world.
Sounds like Bartleby and Loki, or what the hell was his name from the Dogma?
Yeah.
I think it was Loki.
It was
Bartleby and Loki.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Mrs. Mike Kevin Smith. I need to watch more of those shit again. But that's all I got for Decalogue this week. Let us know what you guys think and email. You can hit us up, mailbag@UtahOutcast.com. Send us your hate mail, Twitter us, whatever the fuck you want to do. Anyway, we're going to move on to our next segment, which is our...
Just don't tell us. Just don't tell us that shit's crazy because we know.
Yeah, we know that shit. That shit's cray-cray.
We know. We know. You can leave those comments to yourself.
That's some knuckin' butts.
We are going to jump in into Fun with Real Audio, so we'll be right back. This is Utah Outcasts. This is Kyle. This is X, and this is Jeff. We'll be right back. All right, we're back, and it's time for Fun with Real Audio, and boy, do we have a couple of horrible clips for you guys this week. I'm not even gonna lie, they're not even that great. That's because they're terrible, and you guys like putting us through this painful shit. So the first one that we have up for you guys tonight is, I think a couple of weeks ago I said, I don't know this guy's name, whoever he's talking to. I think it was when Jim Bakker was talking. No, it was Pat. It was Pat that was talking to him. His name is Wellington Boone. He's a African American gentleman who wants to tell us about how gays are really eunuchs.
Oh, goody. Yes. Okay.
Which someone really needs to reread what the word eunuch means.
Yeah, that word means what you think it means.
No.
So here we go.
It doesn't.
I'm gonna say something that will absolutely blow the gay community's mind right now. You really have been misnamed. Just like African American is a misnomer. It's not the correct name. It's Black American. So is gay or homosexual. What you are eunuchs. You're a eunuch culture.
So is this something they're born with, or is it something they do to themselves?
You're a eunuch culture. The fuck does that even mean?
Who would do that to themselves?
I tend to enjoy my penis.
Yeah. Why would you cut it off? I just, really, what's... Oh, well, I guess...
There's some people that are into that. I don't know.
You cut half the thing off during circumcision.
Once again, we were talking about in the break there, 4chan stuff. Like, I remember seeing the BME Panolympics, and I'm like, oh, well, that's something I'll never be able to unsee. Don't Google that. Do not at all do that unless you're at home and you really want to be grossed out. I showed the guys from the Godless Revolution that one night, and they're like, get out of my house. Get out of here, X. Ugh. Gross. All right, here we go.
And in the Bible, you let the devil trick you, though, by making you think that your issue is sex with the same gender.
They don't have a problem with
actually having a union with God. And there are many, many places in the Bible where you can see you're a eunuch. David, I mean, Daniel and the 3 Hebrew boys are exampple of that. Look,
3
you
Hebrew
have
boys
incredible skill
coming straight out of Crenshaw.
The ability to administrate. You serve around king's cables. You're able to communicate in such a way that God shows you visions and dreams. Look up eunuchs in the whole of the Bible. You'll see that you sold yourself for human pleasure when you were made to please God. You are eunuch.
How
Look
is
up
he using
eunuch
that?
around the whole of the Bible. Like, well, if they're eunuchs, they're not going to be able to do much with that hole. You're not going to be pleasuring much of anything here, sir. You're going to be pushing rope.
No, that doesn't work.
Is he assuming it's just because of the reproduction between a man and a man? Is that where he's getting his eunuch?
That's the only thing I can think.
I mean, because
But he clearly just doesn't understand what it is.
But that's so that's incredibly daft. I mean, that is so very dumb.
Yeah. Well, not only is it just dumb. God damn it!
Let's hear what else we have.
This is one of the stupidest things I've ever heard.
You're a eunuch culture,
and I've heard
And
a
Jesus
lot of
even
stupid
spoke
shit
to
here.
that point. He says, there are you who are born that way. There are eunuchs who made themselves that way. And then there are eunuchs who are made to be eunuchs by someone else.
it's Matthew 19:12, by the way. If anybody wants to know.
1912. You said,
Yeah.
Ugh.
Who are the real eunuchs in history? Catholics. They're a eunuch nation. They're a eunuch nation. Well, what do we mean by that? The Vatican. It's a nation. It has a status in the United Nations called the Holy See. That's observer status.
So
They
like
have
a
their
big
own
C or
military,
little
their own
C?
stamps,
I
their own
Yeah.
money. They are a nation of people who give themselves exclusively for the cause of Christ. And that's where you missed it. You're giving yourself to another person when you should be giving yourself to God.
What? There's so many things here.
It's
This
is the same thing we ran into with Jesse Lee Peterson that one time. We're like, I don't know how to combat this.
No, this is just
Nonsense.
Here's
too
another
much
great
dumb. That's
here's
too
another
much.
great
too much.
contradiction to bring up to people, because like in Matthew 19:12, it's Jesus talking about the 3 different types of eunuchs: born that way, made that way, and chose that way. And a lot of groups say that the eunuchs are considered homosexuals because they were born that way, but then they're not born that way and they choose. So which is it?
Which is it?
Yeah.
I mean, because one gives us credence to say that it's a inherited thing, or not even inherited, but a genetic.
Yeah, it's a genetic by God. Yeah.
Goddamn.
No,
Christians.
just God. Too much dumb. Too much stupid there.
He's almost done. So
For the sake
Oh
of the
God.
next world. People, you don't get that? No, you haven't gotten it. And so just like you have some of the Catholics have fallen out, and some of them have had problems with babies and having sex or crossing the sexual line. No, they've already been a nation.
no, not crossing the sexual line. Fucking little kids. Abusing kids.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's not crossing a line right there. That's
stamping on it and like rubbing it out with your foot and be like, I don't see a line here. What are you guys talking about? There's no line here. This is just and godly.
yeah. No,
My dad did it to me. Sorry, wait, that's their argument. They like to say that, you're gay because you were abused at some point in your life, and just gross.
Of eunuchs already, but now in Christendom, you ordained to be a nation of eunuchs for God. And let me tell you something that happened.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
That's a new band
name.
For God.
Eunuchs for God.
I haven't heard of that.
Yeah, see?
Yeah.
And there was this hotel, a Stonewall Hotel, but this was an issue, this is how they removed some of history, where black gays and white gays
transgender
with one
people
another
too, you asshole.
over whether or not blacks could come in this bar and hotel. And see,
Wow.
so now this wasn't the issue now.
Nope.
Did he just try to appropriate Stonewall?
As a racial thing,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Fuck you.
Stonewall was inclusive to literally everybody in the village. It was literally anybody was good to come there. It was a non-judgmental place. Until the cops showed up. God damn it. Oh, man. And don't forget, the character that they put in the Stonewall movie should have been a black trans person. So
Yeah.
So
yeah, no,
never forget that.
The movie was shit.
Yeah. Who directed that one? Was that wasn't
can't even remember.
I don't know. It doesn't matter.
Somebody
gays.
better than that.
Black and white. So white gays didn't want black gays in it.
Nope.
So
No.
so it's not the same. You're saying it's the same, but it's not the same.
Mm.
So and right now with all the stuff that's going on, you're talking about. I'm wondering if what's going on in the gay community is the same what's going on in the black community. Where are the gays saying you're fighting against us? If you're gonna kill a black person, you're killing a gay.
Wow.
See?
Wow.
No, it's not the same. No, they're using the cause of race and what blacks have gone through in history for their cause.
Man.
I call it,
on.
it's you're robbing blacks of their history and you're making them think you're with them, but you're not with us. But let me tell you who is with you. The Lord is with you if you're willing to change.
Gay people are co-opting black suffrage.
Yep. And it was Ronald Emmerich, just in case you want to know.
Oh, Roland Emmerich. I was right. Okay, yeah, I was right.
Yeah.
Yay. Ugh, I
The
hate that man.
fuck?
You should stick to movies like Godzilla.
Gojira.
Gojira.
That was like the trifecta of appropriation right there.
And he
awesome.
brings it back to God loves you. Like, oh,
Yeah,
you can
of course.
say that as many times as you want. That doesn't make it true.
Mm-hmm.
God, that was like a non sequitur to his non sequitur.
Goku
Because
died for our sins, you know.
I was going to say, a long, long time ago, I really, really, really wanted Kathy Ireland to love me, and it never came true, regardless of how many times I repeated it.
Oh man, I had an Oktoberfest Kathy Ireland poster.
Oh,
Those were amazing times.
fond
Oh,
memories.
I'm going to have my own real audio sound clip if we keep going on this.
It's going to sound like Knuckles rapping on a desk.
Yes, it will.
Okay, that's enough of this asshole. Man.
you know, you don't get that sound if you just slide your chair back a little bit.
Yeah, but then you get that wet meat
New
sound.
policy. We have to hold our hands up the rest of the show. New policy.
2 fingers in the frame.
There you go.
What are the other ones doing?
You're messing with my usual show gig. How do you think I make it through real audio?
Hands-free orgasm.
What we don't know is
really
none of us
impressive.
are wearing pants because we don't stand.
Well, I'm wearing this hoodie, but I do have shorts on. And I'm wearing slippers. House slippers, shorts, and a hoodie. Welcome to Utah, everybody.
That's the way it goes.
All right,
It works. I don't know why, but it works.
Fuck this guy. My legs don't get cold. It's my body that gets cold.
Yeah.
It's because the lower half of all of our bodies are legislated here in Utah.
And if you're Mormon, you have to wear wool covering 90% of it. So.
Yep. Not allowed to have feeling below the waist.
Ugh. Fucking gross. How dare you get an erection? Ugh. Yuck. This is God. Grow up, guys. Quit doing that. Why can't you be 90 like everybody else in the top 15? Ugh, gross. Okay, we're back, and our next one up here is Michael Flynn. I don't know too much about this guy, but he's on Right Wing Watch, so obviously he's an asshole. He wants to talk about Florida Democrats, and I think we all are unanimous in our hate for Florida right now. Florida can go fuck itself because, you know, once again, the wang of America fucked up the election. So, and oddly enough, it was a lot of Cuban Americans that voted for Trump in the blue districts.
They were used to the Castro, so there's nothing much we can do.
They like a strong man leader. Strong man. With the yellow tan and fake ass hair. Ugh.
At the state of Florida, they have 36 state senators. 36 state senators.
Mm-hmm.
12 of those senators are Democrats. All 12 of those Democrats, this is not too long, it was not too many months ago, all 12 of those Democrats voted yes to allow Sharia law to be used in the state of Florida's judicial system.
Sure they did.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm sure they did because, man, that would not have been on Fox News like at all.
And we have to hear it from your piddly little
I didn't
program.
hear it from Donald Trump. Didn't hear it from Alex Jones, so it's obviously not true. Which is another fucked up thing, because you know that tweet that went out saying that all of those votes were illegal that Trump was talking about? His source on that was fucking InfoWars.
Oh, of course it was.
Yeah,
everybody's getting it.
He's not doing security briefings with, you know, actual people in the intelligence community.
Oh God!
He's getting them from Alex Jones.
Can you imagine if he makes Alex Jones his press secretary?
That would be just par for the course.
I would have to vote for him again in 4 years just so I could have a show. Because that would be my whole life. I would quit my job and follow them around like the Grateful Dead. I mean, I would honestly have to be like, I'm going to record everything this guy has to say, and I'm just going to comment on it, because I'll be like, I don't even have to comment on this, fellas. Did you hear what he just said?
Now there is precedence behind this of what it was. I don't know if he goes into it, and this is just really quick, but for purposes of like family law, divorce, child support, child custody, they were voting to have whatever your religious leanings are to take precedent or to have weight when it comes to legal matters. And so it wasn't to get Sharia law in the courts or even in the legal system. It's those people that have their religious way of living not thrown out when it comes to family law.
Right.
And that's what it was about.
Which I guess kind of makes sense, but it's a little bit of bullshit, but it also kind of makes sense in a stupid way.
What it did, it allowed the judge to agree to apply foreign laws as long as it didn't contradict U.S. policies and U.S. law. They would say, okay, we'll take it in advisement during this as long as it falls within what the U.S. law already allows or can allow.
Well, the weird thing here is that I'm seeing is like, it's not too long ago. The last thing that I have here about Florida Democrats saying Sharia law is May 8th of 2014. So it was kind of a while ago.
Yeah.
And this comes from PolitiFact Florida, which gives it a rating of pants on fire, which means not only a lie, it's a big fucking lie.
Blatant
lie. Yeah, it's completely untrue. Yeah.
Man, this is ridiculous. And I think if I remember listening to this last night, he actually has somebody start going, yeah. I don't know.
Well, of course they do. That's what they all do. They've got their little guys out there.
Ditto heads.
I mean, unbelievable. I mean, it's like they all voted, and there's no, and I looked at the names, so I got the whole roster of that state to see, well, maybe there's like, Mohammed bin Salman's one of the state senators, and so, okay.
That's racist.
It wouldn't surprise me, but
yes, a little bit.
Maybe that's racist thinking that way. But it's
it is very much.
It was like, John Smith and Mike Flynn. And I'm thinking, God, I mean, do these people not understand what Sharia law is? What it does?
Wait a minute. He said John Smith or Mike Flynn. His name is Mike Flynn.
Uh-huh.
So was he one of the guys that voted for it?
Well, I didn't read it.
I didn't read it. I just signed it. He's got like 5 seconds left, and let's see what he says.
As to the, these beautiful women that are here tonight, you're a piece of property.
That's sexist.
He's a piece of something.
Wow. And it's funny that for some reason, the media has been focusing a lot on the fact that we're not, I mean, they're not focusing on us at all, but I'm saying like the left's ability to call shit sexist or homophobic or misogynistic or racist. I think I might have repeated myself. They're sexist, racist, all that fun stuff. But this is the way of thinking that we're getting a lot from people nowadays, where they want that word to be reserved only for like the worst of the worst. They don't want it to be for casual stuff out there. Like,
no, they don't. But that's where it needs to be. I mean, that
it should be called out every time.
Yeah, a sexist microaggression is still sexist.
And that's not us calling you a racist. We're saying what you said was racist, you know?
Right.
But this guy, I firmly believe he is a racist.
Oh, I'm sure. I have no doubt.
Yeah, it's
because we just heard him say some racist shit.
Yeah, as Ishmael Brown would say, this guy's a fuck boy. He really is.
It's just the passing of misinformation is just insane. And, you know, just to throw a little research in for everybody, NPR did a good story about fake news and the progression of those websites. And it's people like this guy that just the misinformation is spread so much more. So much more. But like I said, NPR has a great audio about it. Just look it up. Fake news.
Yep. All right, we're going to jump into our last one here. Okay, last one that we're going to give you guys this week. Yeah, we're only doing 3 because fuck me, it takes a long time to edit one of these when I put them up on YouTube. That's not to say we don't love you, podcasting audience at home. Just I'm saying.
We just love ourselves more.
I love having time to play Banjo-Kazooie. That's what I'm saying. Like I don't get very enamored with games very often, and I found the funny part of it is like I'm playing on my Xbox One a game from the Nintendo 64. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with me? Like, what am I doing? That's like those people that bought the new Nintendo consoles that were $60 going for like 500, and they're like, oh man, it's so awesome. I'm like, you're playing on your big TV, an old Nintendo game.
Does it have HDMI cables or?
It has to. I would think it has to.
I was going to say it doesn't have AV.
No, I don't think they even make RCA cables anymore.
Yeah. No, not really.
No.
If you want to play it, if you want something new, it's got to have HDMI.
You know, and the really funny thing before we get completely off topic, because we haven't even introduced the clip, it's going to be Jim Bakker, but not to get completely off topic, but there are a couple of games on the NES that you cannot play on HD TVs because the timing isn't quite right.
Uh-huh.
Like there are a couple of levels in Battletoads where you will never win.
Hardest game in the world.
Because the timing is just off. Just enough that you'll never win. I want to do a Let's Play series. I need to get off my ass and do that on YouTube. That'd be fun. Anyway, Jim Bakker wants to talk to us about how God's going to punish the pro-Hillary counties in America. And this is just such fucking nonsense. And it's about 4 minutes, so strap in. You got a long segment ahead of you guys. Here we go.
First Amendment gives you the right to protest in a peaceable way. Whenever you're throwing rocks at people, whenever you're beating people up, whenever you're stealing their cars, whenever you're setting places on fire, whenever you're throwing rocks through people's windshields, this is not a peaceful protest. Now, I do just want to give
they call them that.
They do.
They're saying, we're having peaceful protest. Anytime anybody burns a...
No, anytime it devolves to that's a riot. That's not a protest anymore.
No, that's a riot. That's not a protest. And I mean, is he specifically talking about the protests, like the several nights of protest?
Yeah, the anti-Trump
after the election
protest. Yeah,
right. None of those really escalated to riots.
Yeah, nothing.
I mean, I think there were a few, there were a few isolated incidents. But you're going to find a few isolated incidents at any large gathering of people.
Now, according to Fox News, though, they weren't protests; they were riots. I mean,
the whole thing.
Term, I guess, is interchangeable. I suppose.
No,
no, that's wrong.
Well, I guess. I mean, if you think they're funny, I guess they could be a riot.
I have to watch Fox News at work, and I have to literally listen between lines. I'm like, what are they not telling you here? What is what's going on? What's going on here? Let's let Jim and Co finish here.
Okay,
we got a while. Hang on.
Car, throw stones through bank windows or anything like that, or injures another person. Yeah. They need to be arrested.
Yeah. They probably will.
We need to say no now.
I agree.
No more.
Yeah.
And we are going to have, and I wrote it down. If we're not careful, we're going to have civil war. I want you to...
I'd argue that we currently are having that right now. It's just a civil Cold War.
yeah, it is. But what the fuck? Throwing bricks and stones through bank windows?
It's not like they're going to get anything.
Nobody does that anymore. Most banks don't even have cash on premises.
We're made of bricks. Where are they getting these bricks?
Yeah, where the fuck are they getting bricks? People just carry bricks around?
Oh, you know those black people, they're just ready to riot at any time. They have all those bricks and everything and those half-broken beer bottles, and, you know, they just... There's all sorts of terms that I'm not allowed to use anymore because... Well, actually, I never used them when I was a kid either, but I heard them used quite a bit when I was younger because my parents were kind of racist at the time.
Right. Yeah.
You know, all the taco trucks on every corner turned into brick peddlers.
Oh, well.
Another thing lost when she didn't win. We did not get taco trucks.
We did not get taco trucks.
Fuck.
I want.
Did they forget? Did they forget to push that? I mean, the Clinton campaign should have pushed that little bit more.
She should have pushed than she didn't.
Then it would have really been a junior high election. You're like, I'm going to put more sodas in the soda machine.
Well, that's kind of what people apparently wanted.
I told my kids
in several key states.
That soda machines out of the at school, the full 20-ounce bottles were only like 50 cents when I went to school.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Shit.
Like, what? Really? I'm like, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I told my kids that I went to Orem High and graduated in '95. They had a program where all the local restaurants would come and sell stuff. So we'd get Arby's every day. We'd get McDonald's every day. Like, this sucks. Here we are eating pizza. There you go.
Quit your bitching. It's pizza day. The Aquabats have a song. Actually, there's our closing song for the episode. There we go.
Aquabats
Pizza Day.
Pizza Day.
That's a great
Good choice.
Okay, Jim Bakker, let's see. He's got some sort of revelation, whatever. I was going to say premonition and revelation mixed together, but that's a prevelation.
Yeah, no, that's not good.
Or a revomission. No,
a revomission?
No.
See this? So, can you see that map?
He put up
the
the red blue map.
Everybody.
That is wrong because it shows more purple. It's only showing what county won
county
what,
by county,
not the actual voting
that picture
turnout.
Right there is just a testament that the media are a bunch of liars.
Right.
You are the media. You have a channel on Roku. You're the media.
Every time, fuck.
I lie.
Every time on Fox News when they talk about mainstream media in a negative way, that fucking kills me.
Yeah,
God
I point
damn
out to people at work all the time. They're like, the mainstream media is not talking about. I'm like, you're mainstream media.
Yeah.
You have a 24-hour news coverage cycle. You have affiliates in every city. You're mainstream. And my friend at work, no, they're not mainstream. They're fair and balanced. Like, whatever definitions of either of those words.
Don't know what that is. Yeah, the media is not talking about this. Really? Then how'd you hear about it?
Don't get me wrong. I'm not filleting MSNBC or CNN. I'm just saying that.
No, it's just.
I will bob on the
fuck.
The what's the British one?
The BBC.
The BBC and Al Jazeera.
Al Jazeera.
Yeah.
They had good coverage a little while ago.
They're very good. Yeah.
I can only get my time through the Russian Times. my news through the Russian Times.
The red is the votes for Trump.
Right. Yeah.
No, those are the counties declared for Trump, not the votes for Trump.
The grand old party.
There they are. Now, that's where it is right now. They're still counting ballots.
Yeah.
It doesn't make a difference.
And they're going to show more blue.
Hillary's resigned. Yep. It's in the bank. It's done.
Yeah.
But here's the thing.
I hate her.
If you live in the blue, put it back on the screen. If you live in the blue,
words of wisdom.
You mean major metropolitan areas? That's what he's pointing out here.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
All of those blue areas happen to be cities with quite a lot of people living in them.
Yeah.
I think there's a reason for that. And everybody's like, oh, well, all the crimes in those blue areas too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are major metropolitan
where all
areas.
the people are.
People live there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No shit.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to have crimes out in fucking middle of Podunk, Oklahoma, besides like meth and uncle fucking. But
and I was just helping the sheep over the fence.
and my penis got stuck. I just dropped my wallet. And I said, nope, I don't want any of that. No, thank you. And then he put his penis in me. And
I don't have Velcro gloves when I go out.
He had to help me with my hair. And he was grabbing my hair and helping me with my hair. Damn it.
It's blue.
Right.
I would say, oh God,
Oh God.
Oh God.
Help California and Arizona.
Oh God.
Oh my God.
Forgive me.
Oh God.
forgive
Hear the
us.
words from
Because
my mouth.
those are the ones
Oh
who
God.
came against
Hear the words from my mouth.
the will of God in this election.
Now you've got to understand,
And I just want to tell you, God has spoken to me. I've seen under the ground in Florida, in California.
What?
Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Whoa. What?
Huh?
You have it here, people. Jim Bakker is crab people.
Yep.
He is selling you food buckets because he is going to create the disasters.
Oh man.
Of course.
Silly
of course.
humans. They can't stop
course.
the crab
I like
people.
I like that they're pushing that Trump winning was the will of God.
Not the will
And
of
in
the
the
voter.
same and in the same breath they're going to try to tell you that he loves us.
God or Trump?
Kind God.
Trump doesn't give a fuck about anybody but
No.
Trump.
No, yeah. Oh, no.
If you say that quick enough, it's
No.
butt rump.
And God spoke to me that in Los Angeles alone, there's going to be such an earthquake come that literally the big buildings will be laying on their sides. All of LA is going to collapse, downtown LA.
Well, that's like a pretty fucking safe prophecy right there.
Except this whole buildings laying sideways thing. That's not how tectonics work, man.
That's not how it's going to work, though. But, saying there's going to be an earthquake in Los Angeles, that's...
Maybe he saw Maybe he saw Doctor Strange and all the folding and bending.
That's not
Buildings
a
on their
documentary.
side.
That's
it's not.
That's not his.
I'm out.
I especially like the fact that they knew it was an infinity gem.
Yep.
I was like, they're not even just hiding it anymore.
That's just right out. Yep, he's got it around his neck.
Yep, it's the time gem. It's green, of course. Why not? It's not the soul gem like we thought it was going to be. Nope, time gem. Shumagorath, though. I want some Shumagorath in my next Doctor Strange movie. That's what I want.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, tentacled eyeball monster. Yeah.
And that there's going to be, and I believe the West Coast is going to have how many of those faults and earthquake zones do they have there in California? Anybody know?
And what's interesting about that California, whenever you even see, and Sasha was the one that actually from California made this known to me.
So buy some buckets.
That if you look at California, the east side of California is red by county, and the west side is blue. And where do all the fault lines, where do all the prophetic words happen to plant themselves? It's on the far west of the West Coast. Now it's the blue. Now you understand, it's not, judgment's not coming to them because they voted for Hillary Clinton. It's because they voted for a platform. They voted for a platform that is so incredibly pro-abortion, anti-Bible. Yeah. They vote.
Wow.
They're not mad at you because you voted for Hillary Clinton. They're voted for your platform. You're like, who the head of the platform was Hillary Clinton. So technically you're pissed off about Hillary Clinton. Is that?
Yeah.
Safe
Yeah.
to say?
That's it. That's it. Yeah.
So pro-abortion. I think there's a difference between saying you're pro-abortion and
pro-life,
pro-choice.
And pro-choice. Yeah. I don't believe anybody has a pro-abortion platform out there.
I knew a couple of metal bands that had t-shirts that were like, I'm pro-death. It's like,
well, yeah, I mean,
but that's edginess. That's them pretending to be tough.
When secretly they're like, on the news that night.
I can't wait to be done with the show tonight. I want to go get some Baskin Robbins. I need a pint.
For a platform that specifically states that they are going to seek a two-state resolution with Israel, saying in the Democratic Party platform that they attempt to divide the land of Israel. It's not because they vote Democrat, it's because they vote a platform and what that platform represents.
Right. There's no way in the natural that even a Christian would vote for Trump after all the dump they put on him. I mean, you know what I mean? They just...
Oh, yeah, they put it on it.
Yeah.
Trump has surrounded himself with more men and women of the gospel than any human being I've ever seen in my 76 years on the face of this earth.
Amazing.
That's it for him because
Maybe he'll appoint Joel Osteen as the Secretary of Education.
Oh God. No. No. Oh, that'd be terrible. That's almost what we had with us avoiding what's his nuts, Jerry Falwell Jr. getting it. Thank goodness that happened. Yeah. Oh man. Jim Bakker's 76 years old. God damn it, he's old.
God damn. I like how they're taking issue with the two-state solution for Israel and Palestine.
We need to have a two-state solution for the United States. I think we need to.
God.
I think California, not secession, but we're not going to fall under your jurisprudence anymore.
Yeah, we're no longer part of you.
Mm-hmm.
We'll still help everybody out it's like going to be Britain with leaving the EU. It's like every other UK nation is going to be like, fuck you, we're going back to the EU.
like what they did, in Civil War, where you had Captain America took the West Coast, and the Iron Man Tony Stark took the East.
Yeah, and to bring it back to
the country in half.
Our pre-show discussion, I don't know if you guys noticed during the airport battle that happened in Civil War. There was the Arrested Development ladder car.
The ladder truck.
That was in the background there because the two brothers that did Civil War did the pilot episode of Arrested Development. So
it's amazing.
Fun little fact.
So much beauty.
And I'd much rather talk about that stuff than whatever the fuck Jim Bakker wants to bring up.
God damn it.
Okay, we're going to cut out from this segment. We're going to be back in a couple of seconds with a rant from yours truly. So this is Utah Outcasts. We'll be right back. Okay, we're back, and it's now time for rants, and I'm going to bring it to you guys tonight. So here we go. Most of this is scripted, so apologies if you think I'm trying to be too reading from the teleprompter here. So I can't do this off the cuff half the time. So earlier this week at the day job, my Clark Kent job, separate from me doing the show here, a discussion arose between me and a coworker. And as much as I don't want to have any discussions with any of the people that I work with, because due to their upbringing and the gobs of privilege that they've had for years and years, it makes almost anyone completely blind to anything other than what they want to see. I, too, am a perpetrator of this to some extent, but not nearly the same level as these guys that I work with, especially this one dude that I was talking to. And anyone listening locally to this probably understands and knows that most older Mormon men who live in Utah are some of the most stubborn people you'll ever meet in your life. I digress, but he had started a discussion innocuously enough with him wanting to look into getting solar power for his house. Not for any altruistic reason, like being a better for the environment or anything like that, but because he's sure that there will be an EMP attack in our near future, and he plans on shielding all of his electronics to avoid it, and he wants to ensure that he'll be able to catch all of conference weekend, even if everyone is driven back to the Stone Age. The topic went around for a while because I absolutely love the current culture that we have in the state of actually getting solar power. It makes me giggle inside so hard to see all of the houses along my neighborhood with all of these solar panels bedecked on top of them. If you wanted a sure sign that we're living in the future promised all those years ago when I was a young kid, that's a good start. That's pretty fucking awesome. I love seeing that. Well, as most discussions with this person usually goes, he had to veer into the hard right territory of Alex Jones. And he claimed without any evidence that climate change is happening, probably, and it has nothing to do with human input. So at least he believes climate change is happening, but he doesn't think there's anything we can do about it. And I think so. According to this asshole, the Great Barrier Reef dying, sea levels rising, the tundra melting has nothing at all to do with the massive machinations that we've introduced since the Industrial Revolution. It comes from a normal cycle of the planet just doing its thing. He went so far to claim that the data compared to the conclusions of many scientific studies is all a fabrication. It's a lie. All of it designed for them to get more funding for their studies. And I just have to say, bruh, do you even science? I was shocked by this because I was wondering, to what end does this guy not believe the consensus of scientists? Yet he also has 100% faith in his LDS religion. Nobody could change his mind there at all. So I decided to pose a question to the guy in a way a Christian would to us atheists, using their very own Pascal's wager. Normally, this is an argument I try to avoid and I absolutely hate, because it's assuming that in their narrow worldview might be the right one. not something where there's a definitive black and white issue like climate change and us being better stewards of this planet. I asked this guy, okay, you don't think it's man-made, but what if you're wrong? Why not live like we are having an effect on the planet? And I don't know of many times in my life where me using a shitty argument actually had a way of reaching somebody. But where I was expecting a complete rejection of my proposal, the guy actually listened and said, I hadn't thought of it that way. And for a second, I thought maybe he had I've converted this Asian guy to like logical thinking. But he had to ruin it all with they have you thinking that way so that they can sell you something.
Mm-hmm.
And there we have it. Paranoia rears its ugly head again.
Jesus.
So he went on to another tirade about how we have the technology to power everything with nuclear, but chose not to as it affects the energy company's bottom lines. He was bringing up liquid metal cooled reactors, which is pretty cool. And to be honest, I've read up on it. And especially the fact that Russia has been using it on all their like submarines since like the late 60s in the Cold War. And most of the aircraft carriers that we have use it as well. But let's get back to the discussion at hand. I guess what I'm trying to state here is that I can't wait for the old guard to die so that this old style of thinking goes away. I'm not saying trust scientists. I'm not saying to trust all scientists, but their job, their livelihood, their whole fucking culture is proving things false or fallacious. I don't think any scientist wants to be the one that tells you how fucked up the world is, but someone has to be the first to tell us we're fucked, and it takes a lot more of us to say back to them, okay, how can we help? And actually follow through. I honestly hope this guy does get a solar array for his house, because I don't give a fuck about the why. But inadvertently, he'll be chipping into using less grid power and making at least one more house less dependent on pollutive power and rent.
Epic.
Yeah.
Good rant.
Old guys, man. Fucking old guys.
Jesus.
Old Mormon guys. They're just the worst.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
They make me crazy. Oh, yeah.
All cringy,
angry.
They think it's those old Mormon men that think that the younger kids are entitled. But have you ever had a conversation with them trying to talk them into something?
Yeah.
There's your entitlement.
All right, let's see. So that does it for this week's episode. We're out to go record the secret patron show, which I know a lot of you guys are still checking out. I'm glad you're listening to it. But you're catching, honestly, the 6-month-old parts. If you want to hear the current stuff, all it takes is about $1 a week. You can hit us up at patreon.com/Utah Outcasts. We are reachable through all of our social media empire, through comments on YouTube, voice, text, email. You know how to find us. We put it just about everywhere. Thanks to Geoff and for Kyle for joining me this week. But sadly, this is the part when we must tell you guys that the Outcast will catch you again next week with a brand new episode. But until then, you're welcome.
So long, and thanks for all the fishes.
Good night, everybody.